Sonya Madison, and welcome to Law Unfiltered, where I talk about current events and some of the legal implications. Recently, Doug Adler, who is a commentator for ESPN, was doing some commentating on the Australian Open and stated, and I quote, you see Venus move in and put the gorilla effect on. Now, he was saying that, at least according to him, in the context of watching her play and describing her style of play as the gorilla effect. But he received a lot of backlash, particularly on Twitter, because a lot of people said, and I quote, using primate descriptions when talking about black athletes has a long racist history. Another Twitter user stated that was a racial slur and you know it, stop with the white sympathizing. So he did subsequently issue an apology stating that he only meant to use the word in the context of the Guerilla, which was a style of play, and not to describe her as her physical appearance. But nonetheless, ESPN terminated his employment and he has recently decided to sue. So essentially he's saying, ESPN, you knew this was not a racially insensitive remark. You terminated me anyway, and now everybody thinks I'm a racist and I can't get work. Now, what he's really going to have to show is that, one, this gorilla term, the Guerilla, is in fact a style of play. And what he argues to say that it is based on a Nike ad. And in that ad, which I looked at it, I seem to think that the gorilla is referring to the style of tennis, and that it being in the street, no rules, no hold back, and you just going at it. Versus at the Australian Open, you do have rules. Venus is complying with the rules, and he's talking about her serve and not the nature of the whole tennis match in and of itself. But nonetheless, I'm not a tennis expert, so I expect that he's going to have experts come in to explain that this is in fact a tennis term. And if he can prove with the jury, then perhaps he can also show that the ESPN commentators or the ESPN employees knew equally that it was in fact an ESPN, a tennis term. But even beyond that, he's also going to show, or going to have to show, that that was the only reason why he was terminated. And essentially saying that they have to terminate me for good cause. And if they terminated me because I said this word that was not racially insensitive, then that doesn't meet the standard of good cause. Well, ESPN, of course, is going to come back and say, well, it's not just the fact that you use the word, but it's the reaction and the consequences surrounding your use. We've received tons of feedback and backlash from not only Twitter, but various other audience members in their community. And if they can show that it substantially hurt their profits, then that should be considered good cause. Now, in terms of his argument that because you terminated me, everyone thinks that I'm a racist, I would dare argue to say that, well, a lot of people supported you. He did have people on Twitter saying, seriously, what has the world come to? Of course, he was referring to gorilla, and that's the Guerilla tactics, and not talking about Venus Williams, shaming everyone. Another Twitter user said, this whole Doug Adler controversy is so stupid. We all know he meant gorilla, and this is dumb. So ESPN is going to come back and say, no, people weren't calling you racist, but they were saying that you were insensitive, and you did have people that supported you. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how that will turn out, particularly if it becomes at the first jury pool up in California where the case was filed. And then you have definitely people from different backgrounds, not only trying to get educated on whether or not this was in fact a style of play versus a description of a person, but also whether people were at least reasonable in the response, particularly ESPN, in terminating his employment. But I want to know what you guys think. Either send me some of your comments or let me know, and I'm curious to see if you think this case will either go towards Mr. Adler's favor or ESPN. But until then, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time on Law Unfiltered.